Hi, I'm Christina. We're here at Cherry Rock with the delightful child. Serious question. Did anyone get pregnant during the making of Blue Side? Because it feels like that kind of blues might have done that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Well, Michael missed his period, but it turned out okay in the end.
It was all right. It was something to do with the pill. It wasn't anything to do with the music.
So it just feels a bit like living on the Led Zeppelin plane for about a week and like then crashing in like New Orleans. Do all roads lead Black to Sabbath?
No.
Not all of them. Oh wow, that's cold.
No, that's the thing. They're cold. They're evil. They're doomed. They're evil. It's cold. I think most roads lead back to Robert Johnson. From there, like to Skip James and and things like that. I mean, that's some heavy shit. To some people, they might see these men as the devil incarnate, but I see them as angels. Skip James is a very, very talented blues musician, and basically revolutionised the piano style and the way you play guitar and all these things. Like everything that you hear, you can go back and just pinpoint some things where these guys did something.
So you're kind of in the pool, you're swimming in the river, down the river. They're upstream, sort of thing.
Tubing. Tubing down the river, got a six-pack and an esky floating down.
Fucking Australia, mate.
Yeah, you just got to watch the ash, the ashes, because you don't want to pop the tube.
Nah.
I think there's something international about the blues sound, and it is kind of being part of a world, like being plugged into this circuit, because I don't know whether I'm just blind or whatever, but it feels like there's a big stoner rock thing happening everywhere, and it's like, I don't know whether it's always been like this and I've only just noticed it, but it feels like there's a vibe.
I definitely feel like it's been, I guess especially with that like Sleep reissue a few years ago, that kind of blew out the stoner rock scene a little bit, like blew it up heaps.
It sort of ties back to the blues anyway, like it does all come from the blues, so whether it's stoner rock or not, like anything with rock in it has come from the blues.
How did you guys meet?
That's how do we squeeze that into a nutshell?
This is you in a nutshell.
Look, it's me in a nutshell. Mutual friends put Michael and I in touch. Yeah, they were just like, you guys should play together. That was pretty much it. Initially, it was just the two of us, and we were looking for a bass player. And funnily enough, we've ended up with a man that we approached all those years ago. But
I like to think of it as romantic.
Well, there's an essence of romance in your music, and perhaps maybe you're singing to each other on some level.
Potentially.
You are a bit married, like that is part of being a band.
There's it's deeper than marriage.
Yeah, I feel like calling it a marriage is a little bit disrespectful of the relationship that we have.
Shallow. Well, it's a three-way. It's a three-way, first of all.
It's a three-way. Yeah.
It's like a three-way that goes forever. It's like a 70s. It's like on the Zeppelin plane again.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow, that's an image I can't. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. You guys have been doing a bit of touring. Have you travelled around the world, some world times? What's the vibe been in the international sphere? It's round.
It's all been good so far.
In Europe and stuff as well. I mean, there's a kind of particularly, Australian rock and roll sounds that, it's kind of been around since like the 60s with like the coloured balls and that kind of stuff, and all through like Masters Apprentices, and it's still there, and there's something about Australian rock and roll that is really different to how other people do it, and I think that in Europe they respond really well to that and they love it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do Australians do it differently?
That's a very good question. I think it's hard to describe.
I reckon
but
it's pub rock, you know, and we bring our, like, the culture is in our music, you know. So even though it's a young culture, it's still very much deep-seated into our music, I guess.
That's cool. What's funny, I was talking to the guys from the Celibate Rifles, and they were talking about how the way using old analog amps actually affected the way it actually physically affected people in the crowd. Like, they were like, well, digital signals we interpret differently with our bodies, but when they were big fucking violent giant analog fucking amps, like, people actually felt it more primally. And
That's it. I mean, you know, people go, you think that there's a lot of amp worship that comes with heavy music these days. I mean, you know, we use it as a tool, not as a, you know, a stage prop or just the fact of, like, look how tough we are. We've got these huge amps and stuff. It's more of the fact of, like, you know, you can actually penetrate, you know, into somebody. And that's the idea.
casually with music.
Yeah, it's a loaded comment.
Casual penetration. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, you know, it's pleasant, it's fine. Everyone likes it.
If anybody listened to anything Hendrix said, you know, that's what he was all about. He was like, I want to make vibrations change people. And you can't do that if you got this little squeaky box up on stage with a mic in front of it going, look at me. Like,
Well, it just won't. It's like Matt Pike and his like wall of orange. It's scary,
he
and
would know, he gets it.
Every band, whether it's punk or, you know, blues or doom or whatever, tone is everything. And it contributes to a massive part of the, you know, the overall sound and the vibe of the music and stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty important.
it's true. How did you fall in love with the blues?
In all honesty, it was literally the first time I heard Red House by Hendrix when I was about 15 years old. I was like, what is he doing with his guitar there? I know rock music, but what's this thing? What's this thing? What's this thing?
It's like an egoless thing as well. Like how like humble and shit he was. Like just, you know, when you look at real dickwads just banging on about how awesome they are, it's like Hendrix was like the greatest, and he never thought he was the greatest.
Like every time he was asked, he'd be like, you know, so how's it feel to be the greatest guitar player in the world? He's like, I don't know, ask Rory Gallagher.
Just to add on that, I think a big part of it is like, you know, you hear bands like Hendrix and or artists like Hendrix and that sort of stuff, and then you are turned on by that, and then you go back and look at the person who influenced him, and you keep going back to the original blues guys, like the guys we were talking about before, you know, Robert Johnson, Skip James, all those, like, you know, monsters. And
sitting on a cloud having a whale back in.
Actually on a cloud. In the olden times, living in a cloud. They're cloud people.
a cloud of morphine.
So you guys have done 3 Cherry Rocks. What's the best part?
The energy.
It's big. It's definitely as James would like to put it, it's probably the biggest party of the year, especially for you know, us long hairs and rock and roll lovers and all of that. It's like, it's,
Long hair.
you know.